The following episode of America the Podcast contains depictions of violence, including sounds of gunfire, cannon fire, and gore. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy the show.
This episode of America the Podcast is brought to you by the Real American Book Burning Fireplace. Hey there, friend. You look glum. Are you tired of starting bonfires to burn books from your local schools and libraries only to ignite your entire backyard? Do you love the book Fahrenheit 451 but don't quite get what it's about? Oh, you burnt that one already, did you? So it's safe to assume you're easily triggered by the phrases critical race theory, racism, or even black person? Well, have I got a solution for you! Introducing the Real American Book Burning Fireplace. The Real American Book Burning Fireplace will burn at a perfect 451 degrees and easily erase any discomfort that you feel when someone talks about how America is systemically racist. Yes, with the Real American Book Burning Fireplace, the flames will stay contained in the fireplace itself so you can safely say bye-bye to intellectualism and societal progress as you cast those pesky books into the flames metaphorically and sometimes literally started by your ancestors. And that's not all! Did you know that we've been informed that the Real American Book Burning Fireplace is the only fireplace that doesn't burn people? So if you're a racist who likes burning books and wants to make sure they burn, go ahead and jump inside a lit Real American Book Burning Fireplace and see what happens. That's the Real American Book Burning Fireplace, available wherever freedom is sold. The Real American Company is not responsible for any fire-related injuries.
Kia!
Oh, the hell?
Ah! What's going on?
I don't know. Get the light.
Wake up, Timothy!
What the fuck? God damn it, dude. How did you get in my house?
I kicked in the door. By the way, you need to buy a new door.
What the hell's happening?
It's just Thebadias. Go back to sleep.
Oh, fuck you, Theb. Leave.
I can't. There's a story about my very important past that I need to shriek into the world. So get up. Come on. Up.
Dude, it's 3:45 in the fucking morning. Can't this wait?
America waits for no one, and by default, neither do I. Here, I brought your little Zoom recorder for you.
Oh my god, just do it so he leaves.
Okay, fine. Is this the Battle of Yorktown?
It's the Battle of Yorktown tonight! Well, in the middle of the night, or early morning, depending on how you look at it. I mean, I guess this isn't going out until later. Plus, I believe you told me that the show was released in the wee hours of the morning.
Oh yeah, I forgot. All of the episodes are scheduled to go out at 4:20 a.m.
Wow, real mature. Ugh. Well, get out of bed so I can finish my scream. Let's see, where was I? Ah, yes. Tonight on...
Can't you fucking whisper?
My apologies, Alanah. Okay, tonight on America the Podcast. I'm sorry, I just can't whisper it.
Get the fuck out!
It's good to be back. Hello, America. It's America the Podcast.
Dude, you can't just break into my house. We've talked about this.
Yes, well, you should get a deadbolt, and then maybe I wouldn't be able to get in so easily.
Are you seriously victim blaming me and my wife?
Classic liberal snowflake. Always claiming a little B&E now and again demoralizes a person. I kidnapped you both multiple times in season 1 and throughout these past few years. Me breaking into your home should come as no shock at this point.
Yeah, let's just get to the story so I can go back to sleep.
Oh, I don't think you'll be able to sleep after this.
Explain.
Very well. Our story begins in 1780. We were having a hell of a time winning battles and a shit time losing more than we were winning. Little did we know the tides would begin to turn in our favor.
Oh yeah, did you ever watch Turn, the Revolution TV show on AMC?
Indeed I did, and I indeed thought it was an adorable attempt at making a show about our revolution. However, my very important podcast show is a literal billion times better than that television program, and without a doubt, historically accurate.
Was Turn not historically accurate?
Did you watch the show?
Yeah?
And did you see me portrayed in any episode?
Well, no, but you yourself said that you paid historians to scrub you from the record.
Exactly, which is why my show is more historically accurate, because it has the most important part of American history, me. Only on America, the podcast, will you get a literal first-hand account, and I will challenge that statement in any court of law. Tim will pay for the lawyers. Come at me, Supreme Court. I double dog dare you.
No. Let's not just... Oh my god, get to the story, dude.
All right, but I still say I have a good case. It was late 1780. Myself, along with several other patriots, had formed a secret society known as the Gallo Americans.
How many secret societies are you in?
Well, the Gallo Americans are no longer secret, board together as I am one of the last surviving members and some historian exposed us years ago. However, as for my other societal memberships, let's see, the Bilderberg Group, the Illuminati, of course, the Freemasons, the Council of the Forever Dawn. Oh, I was a Power Ranger for a brief time in the 90s, but was kicked out for being too old and having too much attitude. Let's see, I'm also a member of the American Deep State, the American Deeper State, and the Justice League.
Whoa, wait, the Justice League are real?
Well, yes. Did you think DC Comics was just making those stories up?
Well, yeah. I think everyone did.
Well, that just goes to show how much you know about literature. As I was hollering, we had formed the Gallo Americans in an effort to create a sense of familiarity between the Americans and the French officers helping us. You see, Americans didn't understand the French way of life and thought it, well, fluffy, which is as non-PC as I will get. As for the French, they considered Americans to be removed from the rest of the international community and overall a bit feral. The Gallo Americans itself consisted of myself, General Washington, Alex Hamilton, Tom Jefferson, several high-ranking French officers such as General Rochambeau, his second-in-command Major General Francois-Jean de Castellou, and, of course, the Marquis de Lafayette. The goal of the Gallo Americans was to educate ourselves and our people about each other's cultures and to bolster American agriculture, commerce, the sciences and arts, and most importantly, the American elite. When the lot of us weren't engaging with the British, our group would go from town to town holding dinner parties in an effort to meet with prominent people in those towns to build relationships which in turn helped minimize the divide between American and French societies.
Huh. Well, that was pretty cool of y'all.
Indeed, we were a pretty cool bunch. Between battles with the British, we traveled and partied from winter to spring, all the while scouting out a safe path for American and French troops to use while traveling to the south.
Ah, so not so much actual relationship building as it was a reconnaissance mission.
Not at all. If we were to win this revolution and free ourselves from the shackles of inbred monarchies, then we needed not only to find common ground with our French allies, but to find safe passage from the north to the south as well. Our final battle depended on it.
You mean the Battle of Yorktown, right?
Precisely. By 1781, the British, led by General Clinton, were in control of New York City. General Washington, along with several American and French regiments, sat on the outskirts of the city, keeping General Clinton nervous. Meanwhile, the Marquis and I had been tasked with hunting down Benedict Arnold and hanging him on sight when we found him. Unfortunately, that little weasel evaded us time and again, and Gil and I eventually parted ways. He stayed in Virginia with Nathaniel Greene, the commander of the South, to engage British forces, while I headed back to rendezvous with General Washington and General Rochambeau of France. Hamilton was there too, just clutching onto the robes of power like he always was. Who knew that little wannabe king would not only gain fame, but that fame would grow so great that it would reach the tyrannical streets of Broadway? When I made it to General Washington's camp, he invited me to dinner to discuss battle plans with he and Rochambeau. Full of the finest food and wine Congress could buy, a smart man thought entered my very big brain. Anyways, that's basically all 28 kills I made during the Battle of Bunker Hill. Moral of the story, don't be around me until I've had my morning cup of coffee. Ah, yes, good times. On the contrary, my friend. What do you mean, sir? Gentlemen, I won't lie to any of you. It doesn't look good. Congress is out of money. We've lost New York City, Charleston, Savannah, not to mention Benedict burning down New London, Connecticut after almost capturing Mr. Jefferson in Virginia. What are you saying, General? I'm saying those of you in this room are some of the smartest people I know when it comes to fighting these bastards, and I need ideas. Cornwallis is headed to Yorktown while Clinton is holding New York. It would be ideal if we could get some supplies sent to— Wait! Is there a problem, Mr. Stard? My apologies, sir. My excitement got the best of me. Clinton is in command of New York. Yes, that's what I said. Apologies, I'm just thinking out loud here. Clinton is in New York and Cornwallis is headed to Virginia. Huh. Clinton in New York, Cornwallis in Virginia. Near Chesapeake Bay at that, which is closed off and easy to blockade. And, unless something has changed since I left, the Marquis should still be down in Virginia with his band of merry men. Am I correct in that assumption, General Rochambeau?
Oui, he is. And I have already written the Compte Grasse with the order to move our navy near the Chesapeake Bay.
The bay that's easy to blockade. Yes, what are you two getting at?
Pense to acheter the bonds, Monsieur Stard.
I mean, it couldn't possibly work, right?
Why not? We have proved they are plutôt stupid. Each one of us in this room has fought their forces many times.
Indeed. And General Clinton is pretty stupid. I knew him in the 7 Years' War. Really gullible gentleman. Capable officer, but still had a really stupid person energy about him.
Maybe a decoy camp as well?
Ha! That would absolutely work. Oh, maybe even fake attack plans.
Oh, that is genius, Monsieur Stard.
What in God's name are you two talking about?
Quiet, Alex. The adults are talking. General! At ease, Mr. Hamilton. Now we'd have to be quick about getting there.
They wouldn't see it coming as long as we can get there unnoticed.
Excuse me, Thebadias, General Rochambeau. Would you two like to include me in the battle plans you're making for my army?
Yes,
Oui,
sir.
monsieur. May I, Jean-Baptiste?
Oui, s'il vous plaît.
All right. What if we set up a fake camp here and make Clinton think we're staying put? Some tents, even a bakery. We leave some men here to keep up the ruse while the remainder of our troops march south to Yorktown. We then purposely lose a fake set of documents detailing an attack on New York and ensure the British find them. They will have no choice but to prepare for an attack that won't come, keeping them busy in the city. Meanwhile, we have de Grasse and the French Navy engage Cornwallis in Chesapeake Bay to take out his support on the water, blocking his escape. Once that happens, Cornwallis will have no choice but to engage us on land and on our terms without Clinton's backup. The Marquis is also down in Virginia as we speak, and, knowing Gil, he will absolutely be keeping Cornwallis busy, thereby giving us extra time to catch up to the British.
What do you think, sir?
I think it's crazy. So crazy it just might work. Mr. Hamilton, send out the order to set up the decoy camp and have the men prepare to march south. Mr. Stard, you will make the decoy attack plan and use your spy network to get it to Clinton. General Rochambeau and I will begin drawing up specific battle plans. We can end it all with this, gentlemen. We are at the end of our tether, and now or never, our deliverance must come. After our meeting, we started to head south and...
Dude, where is that music coming from?
Oh, sorry, that's me. It looks like my phone started playing Spotify while in my pocket. I've been really getting into royalty-free alternative rock music lately.
Yeah, that fits. Just shut off your phone. Well, hold on, wait a minute. How do you even have a data signal to stream music right now? We're in the past.
Oh, the Illuminati data plan is pretty incredible. Stretches through time and space, but it'll cost you.
How much? Like $1 million?
Actually, yes. But if you want high-definition streaming, you have to Horcrux a part of your soul and surrender it.
Surrender it to who?
It's whom, and all I know is that it goes to some person they call the Collector. But I can stream Never Have I Ever on Netflix and HD, so not a huge loss.
Dude, you sold a part of your soul so you could watch a Mindy Kaling show about high school?
Have you seen that show? It's incredible.
Yeah, I have, but... Oh, well, shit, actually, yeah, you're right. That show is worth it.
Right? I am all in on Paxton. Anyways, back to the story. While Hamilton set up the fake camp, I had ensured that General Clinton received the fake orders, which he bought completely. With the assurance that we wouldn't be followed, we set forth on our handy-dandy Gallo-Americans trail and made our way south. We had a good feeling about our plan, and knew our men could use a break, even if for a day. We also needed time to sit and refine our battle plan for Yorktown, so General Washington had us stop at his home in Mount Vernon. There, our forces were treated to a grand party full of food, drink, and celebration. The French even brought actual silverware for the officers to use when dining. As for the general, he was finally able to see his beloved wife after almost 6 years, if memory serves. Yes, everyone was happy just to have a small break and a celebration for their efforts. And boy, did I celebrate. Hell yeah! Who wants another round of ale? We have claret too if you're feeling French, or like Thomas Jefferson.
That's basically the same thing!
Soldier, that was insulting.
My apologies, sir. I didn't mean to.
You are forgiven. But remember, you should never insult the French like that. They've been too good to us. Oh, to our French comrades. Our foundation may have been rocky at the start, but those rocks built the foundation upon which we now stand. May our alliance flourish for 1,000 years and more. Vive la France, and most importantly, God bless America. Woo! We're gonna fuck 'em up. Send those British devils straight to hell. General Washington, we're gonna fuck 'em up. We're gonna fuck 'em up. Woo! I'm cutting you off, Thebadias. But sir, we're gonna Stop drinking and go sleep. Ugh. This off in one of my guest rooms. But that's an order, Thebadias. Yes, sir. I'm gonna steal a bottle of claret on the way. And don't take any wine or ale with you. Yes, sir. I'm gonna do it anyways.
Excuse me, Commander Stard?
Yes, good soldier. What can I do for you?
Package for you, sir. It says it's from Mr. Benjamin Franklin.
Ah, thank you. I do love presents.
What's that strange symbol on the package, if you don't mind me inquiring?
Ah, that is the symbol of the Freemasons, an ancient order of intellectuals and aristocrats that meet in secret and control most things. But don't tell anyone because it's a secret.
Yes, sir.
Well, looks like Mr. Franklin got my letter. These will indeed come in handy in our upcoming battle. Oh, God. You know what? Good night, soldier. Don't kill any redcoats without me.
Yes, sir. Sleep well.
Wait, what's in the box?
A human head.
No, seriously.
Yes, I jest. I'm a little drunk. You'll find out what was in the box at the battle.
Where the hell did you get booze?
Pocket flask. Duh.
Right, well, at least we know now that you have a history of spilling secrets. How much did you drink that day?
Oof, I do not remember. Enough to make an immortal person feel hungover, I can tell you that. But I marched it off the next day and was fine. Nothing like puking every 2 miles while walking through Virginia in late summer to cure a hangover.
That sounds horrendous.
Oh, it was. Do you want me to take us there so you can watch me vomit?
No, that's okay.
Are you sure? It was a lot. I believe there's even a marker at one of my barf spots on the trail.
Why would they mark that?
Well, the whole trail is actually a national park now. I guess they marked it to be thorough. Speaking of being thorough, I wouldn't be the poster child for Reaganomics capitalism if I didn't cut to commercial. Without commercials, you, the quadrillions of Americans, wouldn't know what to buy, and I wouldn't make money off of those purchases. So remember to buy whatever mattress or missile that is being advertised during this important commercial break. If you don't, well, just know that I know where you live since I have the administrator login to the IRS.
Wait, you do?
Oh yes. How else do you think me and my billionaire buddies avoid paying taxes? Admin access, baby! We'll be right back.
It's America, the podcast!
Hello, America. It's me, Theb A Stard, a.k.a. the embodiment of and only hope for America, and host of America, the podcast, which I am pleased to report has been featured as lucky number 13 on the list of the 25 best comedy talk shows on all of the internet, according to Feedspot.com. And I am pleased as punch. So follow the link in the description of this episode or head over to feedspot.com to check out all of the wonderful comedy podcasts on the curated comedy podcast lists of feedspot.com. And now, on with more commercials.
America the Podcast is brought to you by Alcoholic Seltzers. Alcoholic Seltzers. Keep a steady drunk while you scream fight with your friend Vanessa in the middle of a crowded pool.
It's America, the podcast!
And we're back, and for once I remembered where we are in the story. I've been playing mind games to help keep me sharp.
Right on, like crosswords or Sudoku?
No, I mean actual mind games. I use a telephone application called Gaslight Plus that allows me to gaslight people into, let's call it, light insanity.
That's horrible. Why would people willingly sign up to a website to be gaslit?
Oh, they don't. They think they're signing up for some sort of social media platform. Meanwhile, me and the others willing to pay for Gaslight Plus send them all sorts of conspiracies or misleading information. It's hilarious.
You mean you send them fake news?
That is indeed a word for it. There's also a catfishing feature, which I originally thought was a fishing simulator. Boy, was I happy when I found out what it was, though. Who knew you could trick people into giving you money so easily?
Well, they made a whole show about it on MTV.
Oh yeah, I think one of my Gaslight Plus accounts was named in that show.
What site do people think they're signing up for?
Well, it's technically multiple sites that were created by my friends Mark and Jack.
Is it Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter?
The terms and conditions of the user agreement I signed prevent me from disclosing that, but I will say in a separate thought that I firmly believe Mark should have kept the at the beginning of Facebook. This new generation is so lazy when it comes to article adjectives.
Right. Everything you said was awful, but yeah, I just don't care. Let's just finish the story so I can go back to sleep.
Very well. As we made our way south, we received confirmation that de Grasse and the French Navy would attack Chesapeake Bay on September 5th. This would simultaneously keep the British fleet from escaping and keep their forces occupied while we made our way to Yorktown. We needed to do so quickly before Clinton figured out our ruse and sent reinforcements to Cornwallis. Oh, and the French fleet would be departing in October, so that wasn't ideal either. We weren't worried, though. We were making good time, and, like you heard earlier, the Marquis had been down in Virginia since March engaging the British while inadvertently laying the groundwork for our upcoming attack. He had been harassing Cornwallis for some time, but never actually engaged in battle. Just kind of annoyed the hell out of Cornwallis and picked off troops here and there. I recall Gill saying that it was like a terrier baiting a bull. Without his help, this campaign in the South might have gone, well, south, I guess. As Gill himself put it in a letter that he wrote in early July of '81, "This devil Cornwallis is much wiser than the other generals with whom I have dealt. He inspires me with a sincere fear, and his name has greatly troubled my sleep. This campaign is a good school for me. God grant that the public does not pay for my lessons."
When were you able to meet up with him?
Ah, right. I reunited with my old friend shortly after I arrived in Yorktown. I reached the outskirts of the town on September 14th, a little before 5 p.m. I had taken a battalion ahead of our forces to meet up with the Marquis and assure that the coast was clear for the rest of our army. Laffy! It's been too long. How the hell are you, my friend?
Theb A Stard! I am well. It is good to see you. How are you?
Doing well. Is the area secure?
Oui, mon ami. Tout est bien.
Perfect. So, what's your bloody back count up to, old friend?
I have helped remove 259 British field depots from this world. Et tu?
Damn it, 253. Well then, let our competitive killing commence with our upcoming battle. Mr. Ben Franklin made me these. So, I think I may have a bit of an advantage on you.
Putain de merde! Where can I get some of those?
They're one of a kind, Gilbert. What do you say, old friend? You think you can still kill more redcoats than me, even with my new claws?
I can, and I will, Monsieur Stard.
That's the spirit, Laffy. Oh, and I think there's someone arriving that you may want to see.
KS.
Alexander Hamilton. I jest.
You are quite amusant, Monsieur Stard.
Indeed I am, but seriously, your surrogate father is riding up the road now.
Ah, merci. I arranged a 21-cannon salute for his arrival. Gentlemen, fire your cannons on my mark.
Ah, allow me to do the shouting.
But of course, Monsieur Stard. Who else?
I'm sure Mr. Hamilton would, but he would need to take his nose out of the general's ass long enough to do so.
Absolument.
Announcing His Excellency, Commander of the Armed Forces of these American States, General George Washington. After General Washington arrived...
Whoa, dude. You cannot just gloss over what I saw.
What do you mean? You've seen the Marquis and I converse on multiple occasions.
No, man. I mean the hand claws that Ben Franklin gave you.
Oh, yeah. Pretty cool, right?
I mean, yeah, totally, but... all right, I'm just gonna ask. Are you the inspiration for Wolverine from the X-Men? Or, more importantly, did your life in any way inspire that... terrible Wolverine Origins movie that took place during the Revolution.
Well, the Wolverine's out of the bag, I guess. I am indeed the inspiration for that mutant, and my story is indeed the basis for that film. Long story short, I got drunk one night in the early 1970s with my friends Len Wein, John Romita, and Stan Lee, told them the story, and showed a picture of the claws. A few years later, I walked past a newsstand in Washington, D.C. and saw a man with claws on the cover of a Marvel comic book. Almost 40 years later, I then see my story played out in probably the best X-Men movie ever made. They really got Deadpool right in that one.
You're being sarcastic, right?
Of course I am. That movie was awful. How could they make the Wolverine Canadian?
I love and hate that is your takeaway.
Thank you.
That's not... never mind. Wait a minute. You said you were in the Justice League earlier. Wolverine's from Marvel.
Indeed. Stan Lee stole many things from DC over the years, and made a fortune doing so. I would be mad if it wasn't such a genius move. Stan also had the courtesy of telling me he was using my story, and paid me royalties. Unlike Thomas Paine.
So, wait. Are the X-Men real? Are comics real? I'm confused.
Listen, is that what you want me to focus on, or would you like me to finish the Battle of Yorktown?
Yorktown, I guess. We can talk after.
Very good. After General Washington arrived, he proceeded to inspect the troops, and by September 24th, the entirety of the Franco-American forces were camped 13 miles away from Cornwallis, who was staying in the home of former Governor Thomas Nelson, which he had taken by force. The British had already reinforced their side with men and a few redoubts.
What are redoubts again, for our listeners?
And you, don't pretend like you know what a redoubt is.
I'm producing a Revolutionary War podcast. Of course I do.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
No.
Ta! I knew it. My arrogance is rubbing off on you. I actually think you have a little bit on your shirt right there.
The fuck?
Well, for those of you humble enough to admit when you don't know something, redoubts are basically man-made hills with fences and spikes on the sides. You can see redoubts 9 and 10 off in the distance past the British line.
Oh yeah. Oof, those are intense. Can we get a closer look?
Oh, you will shortly, I assure you. After our camp was made, we set our plan in motion on October 6th. On that dark and rainy night, 1,500 men fanned out to begin digging a trench known as the First Parallel, about 1,000 yards from the British line. Meanwhile, 2,500 men moved ahead to shield the trench diggers from attack. The trench itself was around a mile long, 10 feet wide, 4 feet deep, and contained 13 cannons and 4 redoubts. General Washington was actually the one to dig the first hole in our magnificent trench.
When did the battle officially start?
Oh, on October 9th. We had been joined by Governor Nelson to ceremoniously begin the attack when General Washington, who seemed to enjoy being the first at everything, fired the first cannon blast of the battle. All right, men, let's go get those bloody backs. You may fire at will, gentlemen. My friends, look who I found. Governor Thomas Nelson, may I introduce General George Washington, his aide-de-camp, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Hamilton, and Major General Gilbert Dumontier.
I thought he went by...
Don't say it.
All right.
Governor Nelson, it's good to meet you.
Likewise, General. Thank y'all for being here.
No thanks needed, my good man. We're happy, nay excited, to be here fighting for the country. Thebadias most of all, if you haven't noticed.
I gathered.
Pardon me, Governor. I am tasked here with firing cannons upon your town. Do you have any target recommendations?
Yes. Fire upon my house, my dear Marquis. Never spare a particle of my property so as long as it affords a comfort or a shelter to the enemies of my country.
Very well, Monsieur Nelson.
Soldiers, ciblette et mission-là. Yes, sir. Fire on the governor's house.
Over 3,000 rounds hit Yorktown that day, and over 1,700 each day after that.
What happened to the townspeople?
Most fled when Cornwallis took over, and those that remained hid along the river. They were fine, but Cornwallis was not. I found out after the battle that he had been hiding in a bunker after we blew Thomas Nelson's house to Kingdom Come.
So he hid while his men fought?
Yep, that's how the British did it. The rich and powerful send the poor to die in their place.
I'm pretty sure that's not just a British thing. America and like every other country do the same thing.
Yeah, but America's way cooler. We have aviator sunglasses, bald eagles, and now 2 Top Gun movies.
I don't see how that makes it better.
It just does. Anyways, after a few good days of blowing up homes, we began to advance and dig the second parallel, about 350 yards from the British, that measured about 750 yards long. We were so close that we were point-blank cannon fire range. However, there were still 2 British redoubts in the way of our victory.
Oh, yeah. 9 and 10, right?
Exactly. On October 14th, French troops led a diversionary attack which enabled 2 battalions to assault redoubts 9 and 10. Around 7 p.m., a French battalion led by the Marquis de Compte, the aide-de-camp to Rochambeau, attacked redoubt number 9. As for number 10, that was attacked by an American battalion led by Alexander Hamilton. I myself was getting antsy and wanted to kill some redcoats, so I tagged along with Alex to assure the job was done.
What do you think, Mr. Stard?
I think a lot of things, Alex, but this time I'd advise that Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence takes some men around the back while we assault the front. If we do this right, we can take this redoubt before the French take theirs.
You heard the man, Colonel Lawrence. Let's move.
For America! All right, who's gonna eat their own heart today? Come here, you.
He's got claws! He's like a wolverine! He clawed my arm off! He's feeding Roger his own heart!
Don't feed me my own heart! 58! 59!
No!
60! Come and get me, you British bastards!
Oh, my God. Oh, fuck, that was rough to watch. So much blood. Ah, shit, I am nauseous. You're right, I won't sleep after this.
I told you. Here, drink this pink liquid and quiet down.
What is this? Pepto?
If you believe it is. Where was I? Ah, yes. With just a few minutes of hand-to-claw combat, me, Hamilton, Lawrence, and our men took redoubt number 9. Meanwhile, the French struggled to take redoubt number 10.
The redoubt the French are storming looks bigger, though.
Indeed it was. However, we were still first, and that's what matters in the long run, being first.
Sure, man.
Yes, well, after the redoubts were taken, the battle was pretty much ours. Over the course of the next few days, huddled in a bunker like a coward, Cornwallis finally realized there was no hope and decided to surrender. And again, like a coward, pretended to be sick and sent out his second-in-command, Brigadier General Charles O'Hara, to surrender on his behalf. General O'Hara, however, was a little uncertain as to whom he needed to surrender.
General Rochambeau, on behalf of General Lord Cornwallis and the British Empire, I hereby surrender our forces to you.
Gilbert, qui dit-il?
Il s'abandonnez-vous.
No, non besoin.
The general says you are not to surrender to him.
Very well. General George Washington, on behalf of General...
Try again, you little weasel. Don't look at me. I'm just here to spy and fight.
I am confused.
Well then, let me lay it out plainly for you. Since you and your questionably sick general made my dear General Benjamin Lincoln ignobly surrender to you last year in Charleston, you can do the same. Go on, you limey bastard. Right over there. Go.
Very well. General Benjamin Lincoln, on behalf of General Lord Cornwallis and the British Empire, I hereby surrender our forces to you.
Mr. Stard, is it over?
General Washington? Sir? George. Yes, Mr. Stard. My apologies, sir, but is it over? It's over, gentlemen. It's over. It's over! Everybody! It's over! We won!
Dude, you first named Washington?
Well, he was in a trance, and we had been friends for a while, so I feel like I was owed one. Anyways, Cornwallis had hoped for an honorable surrender, but General Washington quickly shot that idea down since Cornwallis had denied that to our men a year before. By the end of the battle, we had forced the British to surrender their flag, weapons, and took their men prisoner.
How many men did we capture?
Let's see, it was around 200 cannons, 2,000 swords, 8,000 men, and their muskets, which they broke as they surrendered to us. Over 550 redcoats were confirmed dead, wounded, or missing. Just under 400 on our side, though, and almost 2/3 of those were French forces.
What happened after it was all over?
Well, General Washington wrote to Congress saying, a reduction of the British Army under Lord Cornwallis is most happily effected. On October 22nd, Congress released an official decree ordering a day and night of celebration. People in every town rejoiced that our war was over-ish.
Ish?
Yes, there were still a few skirmishes after Yorktown, and the war wouldn't officially end until over a year and a half later with the Treaty of Paris. I'll touch on that next time at the top of my very important season finale. For now, there's one more thing I'd like to show you. Ah, there we are.
Where the hell are we? It looks like a man-made hole in the ground decorated with flowers.
Well, you are very observant, Timothy. Would you like a cookie?
I know you're being sarcastic, but if you have a cookie, I mean, yeah, I'll take it.
I do not.
Damn it. Well, then, where are we?
You are about to witness how gentlemen end a war. It is traditional, at least in French war practices, to put aside your differences and have the opposing officers join you in a meal, a tradition General Washington decided to extend to Cornwallis and his men. We didn't have any dining tents, so we had some men dig a 3-foot deep hole to serve as a dining area and decorated it with flowers to kill the smell of the dead soldiers around us.
Dude, kill the smell of the dead soldiers? That is such a poor choice of words.
My words are never poor. Shut it. Here come me and my friends now. Boy, oh boy, am I ready to eat and drink. Remember to control yourself, Theb A.
Yeah, Mr. Stard, you wouldn't want to embarrass yourself in front of the poor losers.
Ta! What irony! Mr. Hamilton calling someone poor when he's worth, what, 90,000?
96,000, thank you very much. Monsieur Stard, what was your body count today?
67. You?
Ooh, 72. Maybe you'll get a higher number in the next battle. Oh, wait, there won't be another!
Indeed. Speaking of the opposition, where the hell are those pesky redcoats? Right here. Corny! Looks like you're feeling better. We heard you were sick.
I was.
Sure you were. Well, get down in the hole and break bread with us. We have enough claret and ale to last a lifetime.
Thank you, Mr. Stard. General Washington, General Rochambeau, we are grateful for your invitation to dine with you.
And we're happy to have you, especially under the circumstances. There we are. Care for some claret, Corny?
Yes, Mr. Stard. I believe I could use a cup.
I'm happy to pour it. Ah, it has been a while. I haven't seen you since you kicked me out of the Royal Marines all those years ago. How the hell are you, Corny?
Well, I've been better. I just lost a war.
Indeed you did, my friend. Indeed you did.
Well, damn. I gotta say, I learned a lot.
Oh, really? What do you think you learned?
That the British were easily duped, that people will fight to their last breath in the name of freedom and liberty, and, well, I guess that you were the inspiration for Wolverine from the X-Men, who might be real, and the Justice League are also real?
Do you think they're real?
I honestly don't know what to think anymore.
Then my goal has been achieved. I wouldn't be doing my part as a member of the deep state if I wasn't good at gaslighting the public. As for America, we had won our war. Ever since that fateful night in Boston when the British opened fire on the public.
Which you caused to happen.
We had been fighting for our lives, liberty, and our pursuit of happiness. That October evening after our battle, the world was quiet for the first time in what seemed like an eternity. A calm came over the country, and for most people affected by our revolution, the existential dread and sadness that plagued each of them finally turned to joy. Over time, British loyalists were allowed to leave for Canada and England if they wished, and Americans were allowed to return to their homes and continue their lives.
And all of the enslaved people who fought in the war were returned to the slave owners.
Unfortunately, you are indeed correct. When I found out that this was happening, I went from plantation to plantation, paying as many shithead slave owners as I could for their enslaved people in order to free them. But when the slavers caught on to what I was doing, they refused to accept my money. Because of that, I would end up turning to more drastic measures to accomplish my emancipation goals. But that is a story for the next 2 seasons.
Right on. What about General Washington and Lafayette?
Ah, yes. The Marquis returned home to France to his wife, and the two had a child which he named George Washington. He then became involved with the French Revolution a few years later. As for General Washington, he resigned his commission as Commander-in-Chief in December 1783, causing goddamn King George himself to call Washington, quote, the greatest character of his age, end quote.
What about you?
I returned home to Boston for a much-needed rest and to see my family.
Whoa, wait, you have a family?
Of course. I have a mother and 2 sisters, and my father passed away when I was a teenager. I thought I mentioned that before in the mini-episodes.
Oh, right. I remember.
You don't listen to the mini-episodes, do you? So I am forced by you and the Shui Media Podcast Network to do mini-episodes for these shows, and you don't even listen to them? Unbelievable.
I produce a lot, man. I don't have time to listen to everything. That's why I hired lower-level producers like Jonathan. May he rest in peace.
Well, it's technically pieces. Those Illuminati brand alligators really did a number on him. Whatever. Let me get back to my heartfelt episode ending. I returned home to Boston for a much-needed rest and to see my family, whom I had missed dearly. After regaling them of my endeavors, I poured a glass of claret, stood upon my porch, and took a nice long look at the great nation I helped form. I reflected upon each battle, whether they were fought with words or muskets, and was in a way grateful for each and every one of them. I also reflected upon each man and woman in my command, those I lost, those that made it home, and quietly thanked them for their service, a practice I continue to this day before I rest for the evening. The sacrifice of each soldier was invaluable and allowed us to create a shining beacon of hope for better or worse. While yes, it would be many, many, many years before everyone would be able to reap the benefits of our revolution, the foundation had been laid and we would continue to build upon that bedrock for generations. As the sun set on my home and my country, I couldn't help but wonder what was next. Where do we go from here, I asked myself. Only time would tell, but I knew this was only the beginning of my great American adventure.
Right on, man. That was well put. It almost makes me proud to be an American.
You aren't proud to be an American.
I mean, everything that came after the revolution was kind of awful. One megalomaniac after another taking office, genocides of multiple different people groups, slavery, the Civil War, Jim Crow. The list goes on, man. It's just hard to be proud of something built on such turmoil.
Oh, we'll just compartmentalize all of that like I do.
It's hard, man, and I don't know if I want to compartmentalize all of that.
Oh, will I teach a seminar on how to do it effectively? Every single congressperson from both the Democrats and Republicans have to take it. Here's my card.
I don't need your card. I'm with you. Oh my god, all of the time. How did I get here?
Well, I showed up on your doorstep 5 years ago and demanded that you produce my very important show.
Right, and that's not something I regret at all. Whatever. Okay, so what's next? This isn't the last episode, right? It feels like a last episode.
Not at all. I believe I still owe you one episode that doesn't have any bloodshed. Plus, the final battle may be over, but the United States of America has yet to be formed. Next time, I will conclude this magnificent Part 2 of Season 5 with our Constitution and a look at America's first president, me!
You were the first president?
No, I'm just kidding. It was George Washington. President is the last thing I would want to be. There's no real power in the presidency, you see. Only I have the truest power in America, and that is, say it with me,
Money.
Yes, correct, money. Anyways, I will be in your ears again next week, America. Don't forget to listen to my very important show on your favorite podcast app, such as iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or even AmericaThePodcast.com. And if you listen there, you might get a prize.
But they won't get a prize. Don't tell them that.
Yes, but if they think they might get a $1 trillion cash prize, maybe they'll go to my very important website, AmericaThePodcast.com. Thanks for listening, America, and I will scream at you next week. Good night and good fight.
It's America, the podcast.
This has been America, the Podcast presents The American Revolution. The show is produced and distributed by Shui Media and is part of the Shui Media Podcast Network. The show was created by Tim Phillippe and is hosted by me, Theb A Stard, a.k.a. the Bastard, a.k.a. the embodiment of an only hope for America. Writers for the show include Tim Phillippe, Alanah Matos, and of course me, Theb A Stard. Andrew K. Turner and Alexa Schreffler write for my very important social media platforms. The show is recorded in Shui Media Studios and is mixed and edited by Tim Phillippe. Producers for America, the Podcast, are Tim Phillippe and Alanah Matos. Due to issues with recording audio in the space-time continuum or something dumb like that, additional voices heard in this episode were provided by Tim Phillippe and Alanah Matos. The show's theme song was composed by Timmy Two-Step, and all other music and sound effects heard in the show were procured through Storyblocks, freesound.org, Ambient Mixer, SoundCrate, AccuSonus, and Sonus. Lots of Sonuses out there. The show is available on all podcast directories and YouTube. While reviews on any and all podcast apps are greatly appreciated, I humbly request that you leave a 5-star review in iTunes so that we may finally overtake the political podcast dynasty known as Pod Save America. They're not even funny. We know funny. Wait, do we know funny? We do not. Well then, let's overtake them anyways, America. For America! For daily video messages such as Previously on America and America's Word of the Day, follow the show on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at America the Podcast. And don't forget to check out all of the other spectacular Shway Media shows on the Shway Media Podcast Network at shwaymedia.com. There, did I say your name enough, you podcast overlords? All right, that's it. Go on now, you hear?
This has been a production of Shway Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com.